Welcome to Better.Do Better, presented by RX Physical Therapy, where we talk to local healthcare and fitness professionals about all things injury, recovery, health, fitness, and training. This week I'm talking to Eric VanTine, who's the owner of Stretch+ in Verona, which is a studio that specializes in fascial stretch therapy and other recovery services. He's a great guy. Hope you enjoy the episode. So you're over at the garage gym also?
I'm physically there Wednesday to stretch two of the owners of Alpha. Mm-hmm. And then we have our girl Jackie, who's there Thursday. She kind of is like running it for me. Okay. I have no time to be there. I only go for those two guys, but lately I'm going every other week because I'm actually working with some of the Rock Nation pre-draft NBA right now guys.
Oh, no,
so I got the opportunity because one of my clients, Tyson Etienne, who played at Wichita, he's from Englewood. We started working together a year ago, and dude, he's been loyal to me since, and he's been bringing me everywhere.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he signed with Rock Nation, said that Eric's fucking doing all the things I need him to do for me, and they're on board. So I've been going into the city whenever he's there because he's been on workouts with all these different teams these past couple of weeks because the draft's next week. So.
Oh man, he must be stoked right now. He's got to be like nervous, anxious, but like excited.
He's ready, bro. He's good.
Yeah.
He's either gonna go undrafted or he'll be a late second round pick.
Yeah.
Either way, he's going for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Kid's gonna play. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So, how did you get started with basketball players?
I'm a basketball player, bro. Was in the game for my whole life. Once I graduated college, I instantly got into like the camp world, coaching camps, coaching kids, met a few awesome mentors, started doing basketball training. That's how I started before I was an actual trainer, and then built that network from then, bro, and just kept meeting new kids, kids kept trusting me, kept talking about me, word of mouth, and now that's my niche. That's where I want to be moving forward.
So you're doing a combo of like strength training and stretch,
yeah,
right?
So I guess I would call it more of like, it's performance-based training. I like to call it like restorative training. It's not performance, it's not rehab, but it's like somewhere in the middle.
It's in that gray area.
Yeah, it's in that gray area where we're just hitting all the weak points that they're not working on in your traditional strength and conditioning that they don't have time for, because most strength and conditioning coaches, they're not going to work. They don't have time for everything. So these are like the balance points that they need to connect those dots between speed, strength, and that mobility, and just that that human performance-based movement and durability type training.
Yeah, it's like you're living in the gray area with these guys.
Yeah, I love that area though.
I do too, man. I feel like everyone who's in the strength and conditioning world or like the rehab world who is really doing it is living in that gray area.
But that's the thing too, like that gray area is heavily looked upon as sometimes as being some type of therapy. But I don't believe that it's therapy. I believe that therapy has its own place. So being a PT yourself, like there's places that it all needs to tie together.
I mean, I know what you're saying, and I kind of disagree. I think it is therapy, but I think it's like movement therapy, and no one really owns movement.
Correct.
Right? So, it's like you said, it's restorative, right? So if you know how to like help somebody squat better, and all of a sudden their knee pain goes away,
for sure,
like it's not that you were necessarily treating their knee pain, you made them squat better and their knee pain went away. I mean, it's really the exact same thing that I do. So I look at it as a spectrum.
Correct.
On one end you have grandma who can't quite get off a chair, and on the other end you have Usain Bolt who's trying to shave 0.01 seconds off of his time. Like everything in between is movement, and it's all therapy or strength training in some
it's all
capacity.
Considered therapy at some point.
Exactly, right? The principles are all the same. It's just who's the guy leading the session or girl leading the session.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how did you find fascial stretch therapy to get into what it is that you're doing?
So I found this years ago. So I actually suffered, I don't want to say suffered, but I had some low back issues my freshman year of college hoops. That kind of put me out for almost the full beginning of the season. And I tried everything. Chiropractor, it didn't really help me that well. PT was helping me with the pain, but nothing was actually taking it away completely. So I used to work at a place called Stack Sports. and a woman there did massage and FST, and she kind of just saw me wincing in pain one day and said, Eric, lay on this table. Let me just do what I do. I said, at this point, fuck it. Yeah. Let's do it. So she did FST, and I really felt a lot better. And then at the time too, I was getting into my meditation and stuff, and I noticed how much it's connected to the spiritual side. So I instantly got hooked, man. And then the combo of this and PT really got me back to my feet, and I instantly knew that this was what the missing link is to most athletes, specifically hoopers, because that's who I was working with, right? That balance between being able to have that stiffness and strength, but the ability to be able to move and have a little bit more mobility. So finding that balance between stiffness and movement and tying it all together, like that's kind of how I discovered it, and I fell in love. So once I finished grad school, told Chelsea, we're out, we're getting the certification, we're building a business, and that's it.
Nice. And how long has Stretch Plus been around?
So Stretch Plus has been around for a year, but we were built to perform for 2 years. So in all 3 years, but I count this as the real year because this is my first year all in, full time.
Yeah, how's that first year been?
Fucking amazing, bro.
Yeah.
The best decision I ever made, dude. And we talked about it 100 billion times, dude. I was losing my mind, and we did it, and it's the best thing I ever did. For sure.
I can see how much happier and like looser you are right now. And I'm like, everyone I talk to said, man,
zero stress.
Eric's crushing it, and I love to hear it.
Zero stress, bro, because that shit sucked.
Yeah, I believe it. Running back and forth to the school. And
yeah.
It sounds like a lot. So you have Stretch Plus now, and you also have Holistic Hoopers going on. Yes. So what's Holistic Hoopers? So
Holistic Hooper is essentially just kind of tying in everything myself and my partner in that, Martin Soares. He was my teammate back in college. He runs a pretty successful basketball platform called Basketball Society, where he just he does a lot of interviews, plays, just a whole basketball multimedia platform. And we decided to come together. We're both, like I said, we're into the meditation space, the spiritual side of things, stretching, and just showing hoopers different ways to better their game. And through meditation, movement, we're trying to build a platform to just bring more awareness to that. Have kids learn that, listen, your body is nothing without your mind. So that's kind of what we do there. We have awesome interviews with a lot of awesome people. George Mumford worked with the Bulls back in Michael Jordan days. Laura Mitchell, who's an insane mindset coach for professional athletes. So we just kind of have a platform of everything to bring that awareness to any athlete, not just basketball players, but that's our target.
That's pretty wild. And that's an all online platform program.
Yeah, so not really many we don't have much programs, just Martin does a lot of one-on-one training where he's from Brunswick area. But really what it is, it's just the Instagram. It's just whatever we post up there, just little gems, little things for people to pick up on. Hopefully soon we'll start packaging together online stuff, but for the most part it's just awareness. Just trying to get people to like realize there's different ways to tap in and to tap into your potential. I got you. Yeah. So you talked about hoopers a lot as your target clients, but like what are some of the qualities, or like who are the people that you see who seem to benefit the most from your combination of strength training, mobility training, and fascial stretch therapy? Dude, everyone, not just athletes. I mean, everyone's an athlete in their own sense. I don't think there's one particular group. I think every group that I work with, I see the general pop. I see baseball players, football players, basketball. I think everybody in the realm of the world is going to benefit from this, period. Right? You want to live better, you want to move better, you want to have a better quality of life. I think you need like I say it all the time, you need a balance of everything. Balance is key, right? You need you, right? You need you in the world to help people move better and come out of pain. You need people like me who could live in that gray area, but also when you tie both of what we do together and you have a good team of people, everyone's going to benefit from everything.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, you kind of put it really succinctly earlier when you were talking about stiffness and power, and also mobility and like suppleness.
Yeah.
Like being able to create that, and everyone really does need that. Everyone is an athlete. If you have a body, you're an athlete. If you're moving through the world, you're an athlete.
For sure.
if you're carrying groceries from your car to the
You're
kitchen,
an athlete,
you're an athlete. You know, like you have tasks that you have to do.
Yeah.
So, like, who are you, like, your favorite clients to work with? Like, who? Not by name.
Yeah, I mean, like, favorite type of clients?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to continue on with athletes, man. I love athletes. That's always been my dream. Like, my dream as a kid was to be in the NBA. 6-foot white dude, bro. Could play, but obviously that wasn't going to happen, right? So the only other way I could see myself fulfilling that dream is being able to provide quality service to those athletes and watch them get those dreams and not live through it, but be a part of that and know that I left an impact. So it's athletes by far. Don't want to leave the general public hanging. Love you guys, but that's where I live, man. That's where I want to. That's where I belong. That's where I want to continue to move forward in and excel in.
Yeah, that's kind of how I fell into it as well. You know, like, I grew up playing hockey, and
right.
You know, at the level that I was playing, I was pretty good. But, like, I wasn't going. You know, I wasn't going to college playing D1, and I for sure wasn't going to the NHL.
Yeah.
So I kind of figured the same thing. Like, how can I stay involved in sports in that world and like make an impact? And you know, after however many years, I'm just helping people sling barbells and kettlebells, and
it works, though.
It works. It's just getting people strong, you know.
That's it.
So you have a pretty unique model for your training methodology and, like, what it is that you guys do here at Stretch+. Like, what do you think makes the biggest difference? Like, what's the most unique thing about what it is that you do or how you do it?
I think it's the FST. I think the fascial stretch therapy is our most unique service, I guess you say, because it is different and not many people are doing this specific table-based stretch, right, quote unquote, like this, right? There's a million other places open, but they're not doing this technique. And the difference between this technique and why it's so special or different in our space is because we're not just pulling on people. Everybody in Stretch+ has a background in anatomy and physiology, right? We're not pulling them off the streets or just regular trainers who just, hey, move this guy's leg this way. They're all qualified. They're all getting certified by the same place. And we're focusing on not just stretching the muscle, but creating assisted movement through the joints, right? Where most of these other stretch places are just kind of hurting the muscles and elongating. So it's a very gentle dance, and it's just so unique that this package with everything else, I think, makes us super different around here.
So for anybody who's listening who doesn't have any sort of idea what fascial stretch therapy is or stretch to win is, can you give them a little bit more of a summarization? So
the best way to describe this, which I always say, I could explain this till I'm blue in the face, you'll never understand until you actually feel it. But fascial stretch therapy is a movement-based, dynamic-based stretch where we are focusing on creating space through the joints through natural movement while assisting you in those movements. So you're not just static, we're constantly moving your body, your limbs back and forth around the table. It's like putting on a pair of jeans after they were just in the dry, right? They're super stiff. So what we're doing is literally by the end of the day, those jeans are gonna feel like sweatpants. So that's how we're making your body feel based on what we specifically do, is the easiest way to explain it. If you don't understand, Google that shit. Or Stretch+nj on Instagram.
So I've been on the table and you've stretched me out before, and you know, I have to agree, it's very, very different than any sort of like other stretching techniques that, you know, have been applied to me before. It's not just like a static stretch. It's not passive.
Yeah,
you know,
not passive at all.
You know, the person that's on the table has to contribute, right?
Yeah.
You talked a lot about assisted movement, and like, you know, that makes it active. That's something that is going to influence the nervous system. It's going to help the person retain some of the movement, because we know that if you're just doing something to somebody's body, it's not necessarily going to stick. You know, an hour later, a day later, you know, a week later, it's gone because their nervous system never learned how to do it on their own.
Exactly. And I mean, that's why too, I feel we are very unique as well, is because a lot of the time we are we're giving homework assignments, we're having them come off the table and owning those new ranges of motion, you know, doing a little FRC, working on some PRI stuff, having them own those new movements, which again could be considered that restorative based, therapy, living in that gray area where we're now contributing or allowing them to learn how to move better, because we gave them that new space and now they're owning it.
Yeah, exactly. It's, again, it's very, very similar to what I do with my patients. And, something that's pretty unique about what I'm seeing, we're sitting in your space right now. We're at Stretch+ in Verona. And, to the left of the table, we've got, a wall-mounted squat rack with Vipers. 135 on it already. We've got some Vipers. We've got some kettlebells, some trap bars. We've got some adjustable. Yeah, what's that thing called?
The turbo tank.
The turbo tank. It's like a
tank, yeah, the water tank.
Yeah, it's like a Viper but water loaded.
Yep.
How heavy is that thing?
Right now, it's only like 10 pounds.
Nice.
It's light. It's for the little guys. Yeah. But it's nicer when it's at like 30.
Yeah. Oh, I bet that'd probably be
throw you off.
Pretty intense. And then the other thing we got up on the wall here are the orange stick mobility sticks. So what's the deal with those?
Those are my guys, man. So stick mobility is just another tool. Just another tool to help people learn how to stretch. Also unique about it is those sticks don't break, so you can use it for strength training. You could do a lot of joint articulations with it. You could also core work, man. The list can go on with those things. I basically use them as another way to get people to learn how to move their body, right? If I want to use it in a session, I'll take them off the table and then we'll start adding some strength, whether it's hip internal, external rotation. We'll start doing some movements there, building some strength, using those sticks as a way to aid that. And I like to use it with my basketball guys, man. A lot of basketball players, it's hard to do yoga. Yoga's not fucking easy. So this stick allows them to stretch in different movements and helps them, right? It's like almost it's an aid, man. It's an aid, so they're able to learn how to move their bodies. They're able to learn how to calm their bodies in certain positions and feel safe and learn how to use that breath and just kind of be present within whatever they're doing. So it's unique, man. Just another way to help the body just expand.
Yeah, those things are no joke. They've got some pretty good bend to them.
They do. Those things. I never broke one yet, bro.
I don't think you would.
Never broke one yet.
Those things they look worn, but like they're still perfectly straight. They're not even they're not even altered or bent or anything. They're just.
Look at those things, man.
I know. They're so cool looking too.
Perfect. It's like waking up with it.
Yeah, right. Oh boy. So, how often are you using the squat rack with your people?
To be honest with you, not super often. I have like a handful of clients that I still will do traditional training with. Mm-hmm. Selfishly, that shit's for me, man. I'm up here getting it in. But now, like, summertime's here. A lot of my guys are back home, so now I'll start using that a couple of times a week. So before I just had one of my basketball guys come in here. He just graduated from Fairfield, so we did a little bit of strength work and mobility stuff. So I'll start using a little bit more, but I don't really. I don't want to say I'm not performance training anymore, but it's a little bit less than what it's ever been.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So what's something that you wish, and this is something I really like to ask on the podcast. I want everybody to kind of get their 2 cents in on this. What's something that you wish people knew about, we'll call it restorative training. What's something you wish people knew about the industry or what it is that you do that may be a misconception or, something that's not accurate?
I mean, most people, like I said, everybody has their own biases, right? Everybody thinks that their way of doing things is super correct. I think it's just having an open mind and understanding how restorative training fits in well with every other system, right? People always talk about systems and methods, but it's how you blend those methods and systems correctly. So I think the misconception is that most people are too stuck on what they believe in, and restorative training isn't the wrong way. It's not the right way, but it's a way of actually helping people, and people need to understand that it could be used in unison with other modalities.
Yeah, I see it as a really really good way to round out somebody's training.
Right.
I can definitely see, I like to think of it as restorative, just like you said. one of the things when people ask me about, hey, what do they do at Stretch+, I talk about it as like a restorative or recovery type service,
For sure.
when I'm sore, you know, if you stretch me out, like I feel better like instantly, you know. And then you tag on some of the assisted movements and like teaching people how to move their body, and like that's lights out, man. Somebody can take that back onto the gym floor or onto the basketball court or onto the field, and all of a sudden their body is able to control itself in different positions. They're safer, they're stronger, they're more resilient.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Most sports are played in such odd positions, and I believe that you need to train some of those positions, right? Whether it's right or wrong, I think there's a crossover from training that position to the actual court, and it helping that person in that position, whether it's restorative strength, fascial training, whatever the case is, it's going to cross over, right? There's going to be strength built in that position, right? It might help you avoid an injury. It might not. You know, anything's fucking possible, but it's a way to aid in their sport.
Absolutely. So, Eric, I appreciate you being on the podcast today.
Thank you, bro.
For anyone who's interested in learning more about Stretch Plus, what you guys do, where you're at, where can they find you?
So you can find us physically, 560 Bloomfield Ave. We are currently in Verona on the second floor of Alpha Fit Club. You can find us on Instagram, Stretch+_nj. You can find us on Facebook. You could find us on our website, www.stretch+nj.com, and that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric.
Charles, thank you, bro.